how do you celebrate your brother's success without it feeling like it comes at your expense? That's something a lot of people don't like to admit, but it is real.
Celebrating his success has been, I don't want to get too emotional, but it's like, man, I think of my dad, you know? And that moment that I had with my dad, man, it was something special, and it was something that drove me, you know, throughout my whole career. It's your third shoulder surgery, and it's not going to look good for you, you know? It's going to be very hard to get back in. And I'm like, man, play defense, that's 3 shoulder surgeries as a DB. You hear it all the time. What's your why? Like, why are you doing this? Are you doing this for the fame? Are you doing this for the money? Or are you doing this for your family? Are you doing this, whatever people, you know, whatever their reasons are, which majority of us, it is family. I had my wife, you know,
yes.
She was in my ear every time I got cut. You know, that first day, I let her know, like, we ain't talking today. That next day, she's over here in my ear. What you doing? What's your plan? You know?
I've listened to people's darkness before. That one little thing could take all of their success away mentally from them. They never come back from that. In football, people think that you can just get angry and go out there and perform better. That is not true. What are some of the biggest lessons football has taught you, not just as an athlete, but as a person?
Control the controllables, you know? I can't control everything, and there's no point in getting upset about it, you know?
Welcome to the Project Wellbeing Podcast, where we explore mental, physical, and emotional challenges of high-performance living. Today, we're digging deep into the mental side of football, the pressure to succeed, and how competition, especially with family, shapes who you are. Joining me is someone who knows all about these challenges, NFL athlete Kai Nacua. Kai, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sean. It's a pleasure to be here, man. I'm excited.
Growing up in a family of athletes, particularly with your brother, what was that dynamic like? Did it push you, or did it sometimes feel like you had weight on your shoulders?
So we grew up 6 boys, 1 girl, you know. So we grew up right here in Las Vegas, 224 Evergreen Summer, and then I want to say towards the end of my high school career, we moved to another house. But man, 224 Evergreen, my family, that's our roots, you know. That's where we grew up, out in the street, you know, getting after it with each other and challenging each other, and not even just us, you know. My dad was out there, my mom would be out there too. So my dad made sure there was a basketball court. He went out there and put a free throw line in the concrete, I don't know how he did it. I don't remember how he did it, but he made sure we were competing, you know.
Okay.
It was all of us, you know, 6 boys. I mean, the house is wild. You're competing inside the house, outside the house. So, you know, everyone's trying to get better and trying to be like, oh, I'm the top dog of the family. So, I mean, all of us growing up, man, it was awesome, man. And nothing that I would change about it. You know, we had our older brother that we would go and watch his games. He played at Silverado in football, basketball, and volleyball. I really remember the volleyball games and the basketball games, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But they're out there. He's out there balling, you know. and as a younger brother, you know, you're trying to be like, oh man, I gotta do the same thing. You know, when it became my time, you know, to start playing sports. So seeing that, it was just like, man, like I saw what he was going to state, you know, getting big game, winning big games, and playing in big games. So it was like, oh man, like I can't be no bum out in high school, you know, growing up in sports. Like I gotta make sure, you know, I'm balling too. So
yeah.
So that was it. And then, you know, obviously now seeing what Puga's doing it's phenomenal, man. It's hard to put in words, but every time he steps out there and every time he's calling, you know, before the game, it's just, I'm like ear to ear, man. I'm just like, you know, it lights a fire in me. I'm like, man, let's get going. I feel like I'm out there again, but yeah.
No, I'm glad that you said that, and it's obviously I'm not you know, close with my sister, and I haven't seen her, and honestly it's probably 8 years, and she lives here, so just tough family dynamic. But it's something that I really look up to. I can see, you know, when your brothers come in here, you know, that just that dynamic, and that's something that I think I missed in my childhood, is having that dynamic. And it's funny that you said your dad made you draw out that basketball court, because it's like, damn, you know, I remember being a kid, and you know, I would love to be outside. I was begging my mom to be outside for a long period of time, and you know, you really engage socially like that. And nowadays, like, man, the streets are empty, you know, and I don't know what kids are doing, but they're certainly not partaking in that type of socialism that used to be back in the day, like that.
I mean, I live right here in the Southern Highlands, and man, I'm outside sometimes and I'm like, there's no kids in sight, you know. It's like a ghost town on the street. And I had the one basketball court, and HOA made me take it down, but it's like, man, like, what are these kids gonna do outside? Like, and they're all, I mean, it's just, it sucks to see, because it's like, yeah, we grew up, we're going to go outside with the neighborhood friends and we're going to run around, you know?
Yeah.
But then again, the times are different, you know, crazy world. So parents are probably a little more, you know, hesitant, you know. Are we
Yeah.
gonna,
How do you think that's going to, you know, translate into how you'll help, you know, your kids kind of engage with other children out there?
Honestly, I just let them be kids, you know? Like, obviously, there's going to be a point and there's a time where it's like, okay, I need to kind of, you know, structure them and like, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that. But it's like, most of the time, man, just go be a kid. I'm not going to try and correct you every little thing. Like,
Yeah.
man, if you pick up a rock and you throw it, hey, did you break anything? I'm not going to yell at you just because you threw a rock. Like, if I see you might throw it in a direction or something, and then it's the same with, okay, he just fell right on his face. And they're looking at us like, oh, I'm hurting, but like I'm laughing because you're laughing. So it's like,
Absolutely, yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's what I'm trying to do with my kids is just like kind of show them how I grew up, you know, especially with cousins and family and siblings. So be outside and you guys are going to all, you know, going to feed off each other. Everyone's going to try and figure out, you know, who's the head honcho of the group.
Oh,
you
for
know,
sure.
Who are we listening to? So
Yeah, that brings up a good question, Miza. I imagine there's a fine line between healthy competition and constant comparison. Do you ever feel like you were competing for validation, not just a win?
Are you asking like within the family?
Yeah.
I would say when we competed, you're competing for, you know, for a top dog, for not really comparison, I wouldn't say, but maybe I say that because I'm the third oldest in my family, so maybe the younger ones, they might be like, no, I was going for the win, you know, and comparison. So most of the time it was just like, all right, I'm gonna establish dominance with the siblings, and anytime we were competing, man, it was all right, we're gonna go full go. And it's cool because you kind of get to see, you know, who's got a little bit of dog in them, you know, like,
Yeah, for
at
sure.
what age too,
Yes.
at different ages, you know. And even now, like, we still try and compete with each other, whether now it's pickleball, you know, jumping on the basketball court. Everyone's playing football, so it's like, all right, we know who can play and who can't. Hopefully we all still can get a one-on-one with Puka one day, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
And that's a tough one. How do you celebrate your brother's success without it feeling like it comes at your expense? That's something a lot of people don't like to admit, but it is real.
Celebrating his success has been, it's been amazing, man. It's been just, and I don't want to get too emotional, but it's like, man, I think of my dad, you know, just how happy he is, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's one thing that I think about every Sunday, every game day, you know, he's out there, and I look at my kids and how happy they are, you know what I'm saying? So it's hard to say, but you know, we lost our dad early and I was 17 at the time. So it's like all eyes were kind of on me at that time.
Yeah.
I needed to go to college. I needed to make sure I made it to the NFL because that was something that I knew I had to do. And there was a promise that was made, you know, to my dad before he passed. And I haven't really shared that, but I share it with you. But before he passed, sorry, we're kind of backtracking on it.
No, it's okay.
Before he passed, there was a moment right before he got put on the, I forgot what the machine's called, but it pumps his heart for him.
Yes.
So he wasn't progressing, and they needed to put him on there. But it was probably like 5 minutes before it happened. I'm the only one in the room, and my dad's like hallucinating at the time because he was dealing with type 2 diabetes. So he's hallucinating. He's yelling my name. And I'm literally like, so you're laying there. I'm like off in the corner by the window in the hospital room, and I'm like, Dad, like, what's going on? And he's just yelling, Kai. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, Kai needs to make it. He's got to make it. You know, he's got to get to the NFL and college. And my last moment with him was that moment. And I told him, I was like, I'm going to do that. And so, sorry. And so that's what I did. You know, that's what I thought about every day. You know, every day in college, every day throughout the NFL, I just said, I need to prove that the Nacua name can play ball at this level. So so now, you know, it's amazing hearing everyone talk about him, you know, just like, oh, you know, Puka Nacua, that's your brother. And I'm like, yeah, bro, I've known him since he was a little baby, you know what I'm saying? A little chubby baby. So
Yeah.
seeing him grow up in every phase of it has been phenomenal. And it's been such a blessing to see, man. And I don't think it takes any expense for me, man. if anything, I'm just so proud. You know, I feel the pride that my father would have. I feel like every time, and it's tough because I go to his games, man, and like seeing him run out, I'm just like fighting tears, you know, the whole time. And I'm like, I don't want nobody to see me cry, you know. Like they're gonna be like, "What the heck's this guy's problem?" You know. But like they don't understand that, you know. They don't understand that feeling that I have for that, man. It's in that moment that I had with my dad, man. It was something special, and it was something that drove me, you know, throughout my whole career. And I mean, I'm still playing, so it's like you never know. Hopefully, I get back in and get to guard him one time, you know, and and you know that would be a happy ending for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure that he would say the same thing here, but I'm sure he appreciates not just the brotherhood, but really the discipline and the backbone that you probably are for your family, even if you don't see it. You know,
thank you.
Probably everyone's success is attributed, you know, to that relationship that you have with your dad, and I'm sure that legacy will continue to live on.
Oh, no doubt, yeah. More Nacua boys coming, so it's like they'll be here at PWB, man.
That's
so.
it's the Hawaiian version of the Partridge Family.
For sure.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you sharing that, man. I think that people need to. I had a very similar scenario with my grandfather. He had, you know, unfortunately got ALS. And that was, I think, you know, 17 years ago. There was no cure, no treatment for that time. We didn't have any money. Taking him to Hawaii I knew it was going to be his last trip. He wouldn't be able to leave from there. And I just remember him, you know, in the hospital. He wasn't able to talk. And I just said, you know, Grandpa, you know, is it like, do you need to go? And he could just blink, like he was blinking, and I was like trying to convince my family, like he's like a vegetable sitting in this bed.
Yeah,
you know, I'm like 14 years old, like I can't watch him like this anymore. But something that my grandpa always taught me, just to like always take care of my stuff. Like he would come home and he would wash the car every day. You know, and I just learned at a young age, do you have things and you take care of it. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It wasn't a nice car, but just the fact is it was getting used and it was his and you take care of it. Kind of mold my life around some of those attributes now. Like if I got something, like I want to make sure that I take care of it. That's why I get so mad when things aren't done perfect. But like they mean a lot to me. So those are something I'll never forget in that moment as well. So, you know, that's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that with me.
Thank you. And I mean, I've been able to see that, you know, throughout your business and how you carry yourself. So with you sharing that, man, that totally makes sense of how you go about things.
I think some people they get lost when they say like, oh, you know, like it was never about working with athletes for me. Like I always saw you guys as a human being, you know.
For sure.
I just got lucky enough to work closely with you guys. I thought I was gonna play professional football. I never got the chance.
I know you still look like you could. So.
Yeah. Too many injuries now. Damn.
I'm just hoping one day I look as big as you.
I'm like a one-hit wonder. Now I got like 17 injuries. I'll get one play every series. But yeah, man. No, I think that's amazing. Yeah. So there's no secret. Football is definitely a grind. People see the glory on game day, but they don't see the mental and emotional toll that comes with it. What's been your experience with that?
Mental toll is, man, it's rough. You know, I've been cut 6 times, so every year it was a new team, new staff, new trying to get the team and
back up for a second. So, you know, some people they're cut once and it's debilitating to them. What did you have mentally that kept you going after being cut 6 times to keep wanting to try?
You know, at first, my first 3 years, it was you know what I had promised to my dad, you know, and my family. You know, I looked at them. I had 4 brothers looking up to me, getting ready to go to college, D1 colleges, and they're looking at me like, hey, my brother's in the NFL, you know, and I'm sure they were proud of me and they were looking at me. So it's like, I can't just roll over after, you know, once someone said no.
Yeah.
You know, just because it didn't work out here, there's 31 other teams, you know, let me go and see, you know, how's this other team going to treat me? How is it going to be with there? Maybe I gel, maybe I don't. But that's all it was, is every time. So the first 3 years, it was that. Then I had a son. Then I had a kid. Then it was like, all right, I got to provide, you know. I have another mouth to feed. It's not just me anymore. So that COVID year, so 2019, I ended up going to IR, fractured one of the anchors in my shoulder because I had labrum surgery in college. And then the latest one in Indy was lateral. I believe that's what it's called.
Yeah.
So I ended up having that, and you know, I'm talking to my agent. He's kind of like, man, like it's your 3rd shoulder surgery, and he's like, it's not gonna look good for you. You know, it's gonna be very hard to get back in And I'm like, man, and he said that, and I was like, I totally understood that. I was like, I understand. I play defense. That's 3 shoulder surgeries as a DB. But in my head, immediately, I was just like, that's another challenge that I can make it, man. That's just another object in the way to the goal. So I was just, that whole season or that whole year, I was just like focused on dieting, and I knew I had a kid on the way. So it was really amped up. Like I was focused on, hey, like I got to get in shape. I got to get a call. But then obviously COVID hits that following year.
Right.
So that kind of messed up the whole dynamic, right? Because you understand you get cut and then you got to wait for workouts, right?
Yes.
Workouts are going to happen on Tuesdays. COVID, they were like, yeah, we're not bringing anybody in. They're like, we don't know what's going on. So workouts were non-existent. So during that time, it was just like, all right, I need to figure out how can I get eyes on me. And then the hub ended up having a camp in San Diego. I went down, paid for that, ended up getting blessed, got picked up by the Niners and was able to go out and still play. So that was a huge blessing.
Absolutely.
You got to always look back, especially in the times that when it's like, all right, maybe I got cut or maybe I'm not playing. Maybe I was starting, now I'm not playing anymore. You got to find, what's pushing you. Like, you hear it all the time. What's your why? Like, why are you doing this? Are you doing this for the fame? Are you doing this for the money? Or are you doing this for your family? Are you doing this? Whatever people, whatever their reasons are, which majority of us, it is family. We want to provide for our family and be the best that we can for our family. So I think that's what pushed me. My family. That they drove me. I had eyes on me. I wanted to be at the top as long as I could for them to see. And then now look at, I've had Samson, who's been in the NFL. He's been in a couple camps. He's not anywhere close to being done. The kid is electric. I know you've seen some of his. I don't know if everyone's seen it, but the kid can play football.
Absolutely.
He can play the game of football. What Puka is doing, it's in our blood. We got blessed by God, man. We got blessed, and we can play this game, and it's amazing to see, man. It's truly a blessing too.
Yeah, I know that. I think that's amazing, and you had your family around you. I can't stress, to all these guys I work with, is how important it is to create a circle of people around you.
For sure.
They don't even need to have status, man. It just needs to be people that have your back.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I say that you say that too, because I have my wife.
Yes.
I've been with her since high school, so obviously, what pushed me was my family, but at the same time, I had her in my ear.
Yes.
She was in my ear every time I got cut. That first day, I let her know, like, we ain't talking today. I just got cut. I lost a job. That next day, she's over here in my ear. What you doing? What's your plan? Get a plan. Where are you going to work out? We got to go somewhere. She was in my ear, telling me like this.
And I think she's saying that for you, not for her.
100%.
Because you can easily, I've listened to people's darkness before. Mm-hmm. They can go, that one little thing could take all of their success away mentally from them. They never come back from that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's sad, and that brings up a question there's a stigma around mental health in sports. People think if you're dealing with something mentally, it means you're not strong enough. And how do we change that narrative?
I think we changed it. A lot of people have been talking about mental health, and it goes throughout the game. Guys, you're at the top, you're at the bottom some days, some weeks, some years, you're at the top of the game, you're all Pro Bowl, then you get hurt, and then it's like, all right, your name's not getting called. So it's like, for guys, they gotta find, their foundation again at some point. I feel like, that was something for me, is like, I went back to my foundation. I was built on faith and family, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that was one thing, I went through injuries too, even college, NFL, and I was just like, man, like, with what my agent was saying, like, it's gonna be tough to get in, but I went back to my family, went back to my faith, and it's like, through those two things, it wasn't like, oh, I can't reach it, I can't get back to that level. It was, one day at a time. I got the people around me. I got my foundation. I'm gonna keep going just day by day. It wasn't, and it's not looking too far. You don't want to look too far ahead. You don't want to look back at, I should have this, should have done that. One day at a time, one moment at a time. And you just keep getting better, and finding ways to keep getting better. Like in how you say, we were talking the other day, is, sometimes you got to find a new circle. Some people got to get cut out. Some people got to get put in. It's
absolutely.
And maybe there's only 2 people in the circle right now.
Yeah.
There's got to be a moment.
And sometimes there's only yourself. I think sometimes, even though a circle is great, sometimes we depend so much on other people that really, when we get isolated and have to be alone a little bit, it could be catastrophic if we don't have
For sure.
You know, that backbone. I've been in that situation before where I had someone else be my backbone, you know, without even really realizing it. And once they got taken away, it was quite catastrophic mentally.
Yeah.
You know, it took long time to climb out of that. You know, and
sure.
and something that meant a lot to me is that probably told me about a year ago. You're like, you know, you thought you were thinking about hanging it up,
Yeah.
and just being in here and creating that environment, and you know, you can go anywhere to train. I don't think I do anything special here, but what I think I do exceptionally well is create that culture and environment that I don't give a shit if you're a first round draft pick or you haven't stepped on the field for 3 years. I can promise you that what we're going to do here is going to be different than you get anywhere else.
Yeah.
This ain't Exos. I don't need all to hang up the jerseys on my wall or the balls, but you know, if you come here, I'm going to motivate you. And if you don't play again, that's okay too.
Yeah.
But just know that it's gonna manifest somewhere in your life, and I want people to understand like what it means, you know, to me to be able to foster that, you know, relationship with people here, you know, because it's like you have to have an identity underneath of that helmet and that uniform, and I see you guys as Kai. I don't see you as the letters on the back of your jersey. You know, where other people, they just need that. They need to show that.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's really important. And that's something that I try to foster in the culture here is we're going to work hard, but we're going to have fun. But really the underlying tone is it's so important to foster that relationship back with yourself that you can do it. And if you don't do it, you tried at least your hardest, but I promise you whatever that you did will manifest into another area in your life as well.
100%. That's how it was for me at that time, you know, that year when I came in, and I remember that, man. I literally told you like, hey man, I'm struggling like mentally. I don't know if I want to keep doing this. And I was here every day, you know what I'm saying? But I knew I needed to be here because we met prior to when I started training here. So it's like I already knew what you were about, and I could feel the energy of like, all right, we're gonna get after it in here, and he's not gonna just let me slack off. You know, there might be other gyms where it's just like, all right, he's not feeling it today. We're just gonna do a workout where he's, you know, at least moving. But like here, and that's why I said it. That's why I was like, he's gonna make sure I'm getting back on track. You know what I'm saying? And I can't thank you enough for that, because what you did, I'm telling you, I was really close, man. I was fighting, man. I was just like, man, I can still play, you know. But I thank you a lot, man, because that year with Mo and everybody, man, I felt like I was moving the same way Mo was moving, you know, 300-pound D lineman. But you know, you were pushing me every day. You knew what, and it wasn't too much, you know. There was days like, hey man, I'm a little tired today, but it's just,
for sure.
It's all right. You'd be like, it's no worries, you know, we're still gonna get after it. But there was moments where you could see it in the workouts, you know. You'd be like, all right, I need you to pick it up here.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever get that type of energy again, because you know that's thinking wrong. I want to create that energy, working with agents and bringing their athletes and recreating that. But know that year, you know, it was like a down year for a lot of guys coming back from being injured. You know, guys kind of just losing faith. Probably some of the team management and structure is so toxic on them that I had two people tell me that they wanted to quit because of the toxicity of it. And whatever was fostered in that group, truly was unmatched.
Oh yeah.
You know, that was some of the best time I've had in my career during those 90 minutes.
That's probably one of the funnest off seasons I had too. I mean, obviously it was a long time. We were all getting back, but man, like every day everyone showed up. Yeah, we might have been hurt, man. But you know, we showed up. We let you know how we were feeling. And either way, it was just like we're gonna get after it and make sure we're gonna be where we need to be when our numbers called, when our phone rings. Like,
it almost felt like a team. We had all of you doing the exact things that you do. Come an hour early, warm up, getting PT, doing the Pilates, boxing, doing the workouts, going outside. And I know it was hard, but again, even if no one ever played again, the fact that in your mind you saw that your body was able to do it, at least you know that sometimes it's just not the right calling, or this is the time, but it should never be because you think you can't do it. You know, I think that's what's important. If at the end of the day your body can still perform, maybe the cards just didn't play out in that way, but that doesn't mean that you failed. And I think that sometimes people see that maybe their body's not able to because they got injured, and it shuts them down for the rest of their life. I've seen it happen before where I'm like, man, you were the best. What happened? You know, so should I you could be removed from sports for 8 years. Bring them in here. Let's get them back to where they can be their best at this current moment for the rest of their life. Because there's so much more to life than just half the time I identify myself with my work too. I'm like, damn, there's Sean, but people always says, oh yeah, you work with this guy and this guy. Can I get tickets for this and this? I'm like, damn, does anyone like me for me? I said, because I don't even know if I like me for me, you know. And I think that being able to foster that relationship with yourself through these other individuals is so important. That's why I think that something really special can be created here. You know, I just didn't see what it was at the time, but you know, it wasn't. Let me get 30 guys going through the draft. No, because half of those guys don't even have the right attitude. I need guys. You know, that I loved working with rookies. I loved working with people on the practice squad. You know, those are
hungry guys.
I treated everyone the same. You know, I treated the starting quarterback the same as the guy in the practice squad who didn't even know if he wasn't going to play again. And that's what made me special, because I always maintain my integrity. You know, in professional sports, you don't even, integrity is leaving you left and right. You know, you get told you do a good job, and the next day you're like, can you bring your iPad up? You know,
you got to go home now. But
so imagine that. Like, damn, I just performed, but then you're just telling me that I'm not good enough and I'm quitting. So I think making it through those tough times is exceptionally important.
And you got to. I mean, it's gonna happen. You know, no doubt. And like we're saying, you're gonna have to go back to your why and your foundation of, you know. And I think with the mental health of how we can, you know, get guys to, you know, deal with both. You know, you got to perform, but you got to take care of your mental health. I think the podcast thing is. I think it's really helped a lot of guys. You know, there's a lot of guys that are doing it throughout the season, and they're able to express how they feel, you know, instead of just, I mean, it's new. So, like, I'm not in the locker room now, so it's kind of like before then, you know, it kind of chirps in the locker room. You know, you kind of, one guy starts, you know, complaining a little bit, and then it's like a disease, man. It might spread, and teams don't need that, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like with the podcasting, maybe streaming, guys are going to be able to kind of get out their feelings and not have to bring that into, you know, the workplace, where it's like, let's keep the workplace. Let's keep it positive vibe and keep it going, because you want to keep that for your team.
That's like the dude that walked off the field last night. There's a reason for that. I know everyone. I don't even. I know nothing about it, but there's a reason for that, and I could be preventable. But not only, I mean, he'll look back on that. It's not going to be good for him. You know, not a good look for his teammates. But obviously, there's like something is going on that makes someone do that, because that is so out of character. But there's got to be something going on. So it's like, you know, hopefully someone checks on him. Like, why did you do that? You know, because you really never know what someone's going through, man.
For sure.
Because sometimes we think it's fun in games, but you know, you read through the comments and people, you get 10,000 messages because they missed a catch, you know, in the end zone, and they don't realize that what that's doing to that individual. You
don't know,
you know?
And at the same time, you don't know what they're going on with their family, with him at home. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to perform their best on Sundays, and the keyboard warriors they're cool. So.
For sure.
They're out there, and they're always going to be there. So people don't pay no mind to it. That's what I say.
You've competed at the highest level of football, but I'm curious, how was competing with your brothers, and how did that shape your mental resilience, and how do you think it's shaping their mental resilience?
For me, competing with my brothers, it was just like, I'm one of the older ones, so it's like I can never let the younger one win at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, not even if it was a thumb war, like, or we're playing rock, paper, scissors, like, bro, I have to win. Maybe we started out rock, paper, scissors, best out of 5. If I'm thinking, oh man, I might lose, hey, we're going best out of 7 here, but all right, we're gonna keep bumping it up till I win. But you know, for me, it was just like, it taught me to never play down, you know what I'm saying? Never play down to the level of competition. Like, always play at your level, or play higher, or try and meet. If there is a little bit higher, then go meet it. You know what I'm saying? Don't get scared of it. And I think for my younger brothers, man, they're out there trying to compete with us. Their older brothers, you know, who are ballers. So it's like, for them, I think it might have been more of an advantage for them. You know, those younger 3, they're over there trying to keep up with the older 4 that are like, oh, these... You know, my sister too, man. She was a baller too in high school. And she played a little bit of rugby at SUU. But I mean, for the young ones, man, that mental, you've talked to Puga, man. There's Samson and Tay, those guys, man. They ain't taking no crap from nobody. You know what I'm saying? They've taken all the crap from their older brothers. You know, and got beat down by us, and it's just like, they're not taking no crap because they know, like, you ain't giving me nothing I ain't seen already. You know, they know that they can get to the top. So I think it really helped them, you know, and for me and my older siblings, you know, we just knew, like, we couldn't let them win it.
Yes.
We gotta make sure, you know, they know we the top dog at all times, and that's how it still goes.
Yes.
So, you know, with Puka, we'll see. You know, I don't want to get a one-on-one with him until he's done, and I'll be like, hey, when you're done, we can strap it up. We
For
can
sure.
see, you know.
Yeah.
Well, wait till you're off the field to
Yes.
do that, and we'll see who's the top dog. I mean, right now it's just enjoy him and then enjoy the family.
Absolutely.
Try to get the younger. You know, we still got one in.
Yeah, it's like the next man up. You got like a lineage going on,
yeah.
man. I'm about to be
100%.
straight great by the time we get to your kids. Hope I can still bend over and pick up a weight plate.
It's all right. They're gonna be in here, hopefully looking like you.
Sibling competition can fuel greatness, but it can also create pressure to constantly prove yourself. Did you ever feel like you were chasing perfection, not just to beat other people and your brothers, but expectations that were placed on you?
Definitely was chasing perfection. I still feel like I can feel that, you know, with anything that I'm doing. Like I get nervous. I get a little nervous, you know. Like I've been playing football since I was 7. You know what I'm saying? And still in the UFL when I just played this summer, man, that's getting nervous for the game. Like, and I'm like, man, like I've been doing this forever. Like, what am I nervous about? It's just like it's still there. Like, are you going to be perfect enough to help your team win? You know, are you going to be able to do your 1/11th? And I still get that, and it drives me nuts because I'm like, man, like I feel like I play really good, and I'm still nervous that I might mess up a play. And like it happens in the game.
Yeah.
You know? And I try to be as perfect as I can, but it just doesn't happen. You know, and sometimes talking to people, I'll be like, man, I gave up this play, and he's like, bro, there's one play in the game. Like, let it go. You know, you're gonna have good teammates that are like that. It's like, bro, what are you worrying about? It's one play. We got more plays. You know, it's only the second quarter or whatever it may be. So, trying to get that going is
and I think that's important. Is in football, people think that you can just get angry and go out there and perform better. That is not true.
Not everyone.
Football is very smart. Football is everyone that plays football is very, 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 very intelligent.
Yes.
And I think that people don't think about that.
Yeah.
You know, the football is extremely complex. There's so many variables, and it's the person that can overcome that challenge of, oh man, I just let someone beat my ass.
Yeah.
But I'm about to beat their ass next time.
Like, oh,
you
got me this play. I'm about to get you this play.
So you just got to let it go, let it roll off your shoulder, and do better next time.
For sure. And I kind of picked that up a little bit early. You know, played quarterback in high school, and it's just like you throw a pick, all right, the next one, man. You get more plays, so go make a bigger play than that was. So the perfection thing is just chasing it is the best way to do it. You know, chase the perfection, but who's perfect in this world, man? Ain't nobody gonna be perfect. No one's perfect in the game.
That brings up my next question: is like, what are some of the biggest lessons football has taught you, not just as an athlete, but as a person?
For me, really control the controllables. You know, I can't control everything, and there's no point in getting upset about it. You know, there might be something, you know, my kid or my brothers or something they might do, and it's like, bro, if I couldn't control, why is that gonna ruin my day? You know, like why let that bother me? That was probably my main thing. You know, control the controllables and show up every day. You know, we had Greg Williams. I had Greg Williams as my DC my rookie year.
Okay,
man. That dude has some quotes, man. It just get you fired up, get you going. You know, I never really heard football talk like that. You know, so it was the first time hearing it, man. It was just like, yo, come in here and take a grown man's job, and I'm over here every day. I'm writing in my notebook. Take a grown man's job, you know. So
I don't think we could like Deion Sanders is he'll be the greatest coach ever, man.
Oh, man.
The way that he has the buy-in from, I mean, it's actually pretty incredible to see. I think he's using anything possible that he learned as a player, and putting that into some real coaching.
For sure.
You know,
I mean, right now it looks like those kids are loving it, man. They're feeding off of it. They got Warren Sapp there as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you got two great players.
You know, at the pro level, everything is so stressful and political. You know, maybe in college you just want to get to the next level, but there is some fun that gets delineated once you go to the pro level. You know, it's all about performance there.
Oh,
and even though you're on a team, in college you got great team camaraderie. You know, it's just everything's different. Where pro level, it is a team sport, but there gets a lot of individual, play there. So
no, that definitely happens. But I mean, it's kind of what's preached, you know, right away is, you know, you got to perform. You got to, you know, what you put on tape. What are you putting on tape? What's the silent tape say? So that's something that was, you know, engraved in me as a rookie, you know, that what's your silent tape talking about? So it's like every day you got to wake up and perform. And that comes with being, you know, a undrafted guy too. Like undrafted guy, you don't have, your room for error is probably a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? You got to be on your stuff every day. You know, these guys, they invest money into you. These GMs, these owners, like, you're not a 4th, 5th round pick. You're not a 3rd. You're not first You're not the first pick overall. So you got to make sure you're on your stuff, you're where you need to be. So that type of stress is added on, as a player. Even if you are drafted, that type of stress, you got to make sure you're performing, even if you are drafted. You know? You can't just be, oh, I just got drafted and then like, oh, I'm coasting. Like, nah, we picked you. We need you to play on Sundays. So it's like you got to perform at the highest level with the highest people out there. So it's like you gotta do what you got, and that's the stress that guys deal with. You gotta be on your stuff. So
I remember I was talking to Austin Eckler, and he was telling me, early on in his career, he was just like, what else can I do to play? Like, what do I need to do? And he was so frustrated because he was trying his best. And I think that he said the coach just said, just keep doing what you're doing. But all he thought is anytime at practice that I get to touch that ball, it's got to be.
Got to do something.
It's got to do something. And that's really taking advantage of the situation that you're in.
And that goes with just his own mindset. That's a great mindset to have, and not everyone's gonna have that. So. For him to go out there and be like that, man, that's phenomenal. Look where he's at in his career. So, I mean, that was for me was control the controllables, man. Take a grown man's job, and that's one thing that I tried to do every time I was out there. And at 6 years, I was blessed, played on several different teams, and that was tough, tough traveling, different city, different year. Another coaching staff that I had to be like, you know what, I got to show these guys that I can play. I know you guys just signed me. Ain't nobody here been watching me. They probably don't even know me. That aspect of like, you got to come in and show these guys like you can play the game to stay on this team like that. That in itself was stressful enough, man. It's kind of going back to questions a while ago, but not everyone can do that. And some guys might get cut once or twice.
Absolutely.
And they're like, man,
and that's it.
Bro, 6 times? I got to go into this facility and just show you like what I'm about every time I come in, like, and you just drafted somebody in my position. It's like, all right.
Yep.
Like, that's cool, but I'm going to show you what I got. So
that truly is incredible, man. Seriously.
Thank you.
At the end of the day, when you step off the field, how do you separate who you are as a person from who you are as a player?
Separating myself, when I come home, I just try to be me. I mean, I'm a goofy dude, love being with family. So and honestly, I feel like I carry that into the locker room too. I'm cool with everybody. I ain't got no problems with nobody. At least if you do have one with me, then I didn't know. I'm over there trying to, make sure everyone's up and ready to play and do what they got to do, especially in this game of football. It's stressful enough. No one needs to bring any more, stress to another teammate. So it's like, man, wake up. Fred, I say this, Fred was great. And like, I feel like getting people, going in the mornings too. Like people say, "Oh, good morning, good morning." That would just come out of nowhere. Great morning. And I'd be like, "Oh man, what is a great morning? Let's go." We're playing football. I'm not at the office. I'm not at like behind the desk.
For sure.
Like, why I gotta be here, man? We're playing football. Let's have a great day. And that's one thing, with him. After playing with him, I kind of killed that. Like, great morning, everybody. Great morning. It's just get you going instead of hearing good. It's just a good morning. It's like, no, this is a great morning. We're alive. Let's get after it. Whatever we got to do, let's get active and give it the best we got. So,
yeah, I think that's amazing.
Separating it, like I'm saying, man. I try to carry myself the same way I did throughout football, home with my wife, with my kids now too. Like, we're gonna get after it every day. We're gonna wake up in the morning, we're gonna listen to some reggae, get the day started, and we're just happy. Reggae music, everyone loves reggae. No one hates reggae.
For sure.
So it's like it gets the vibes going, and just like, keep going throughout your day, keep pushing. There's gonna be moments in the day where it's like, all right, I don't like that. It's not going my way, but hey, no worries.
Yeah, we're still alive and breathing.
Just keep going. Get to the next moment and take it one moment at a time, one day at a time, and we'll be good. Yeah.
For athletes listening to this, what would you say to them about balancing mental health with high performance? How can they focus on both without feeling like one has to give?
Focusing on their mental health, I mean, it could come in different ways. There's meditation, like I'm saying, the podcasting, the streaming, like that might be, outlets for people or for the young athletes to be like, all right, this is how I can get some of my mental health out, my stress out, or whatever it may be, things that are on my mind that I can't let out normally to my teammates, my coaches. I think these are great tools that people have nowadays. And like we said, your circle, like who can you talk to? There's got to be someone that you can talk to and vent to.
Yes.
Even if if it's a stranger, like someone might just listen, but there's got to be people around you that are willing and that are going to help you reach your goals. You know what I'm saying? They gotta be the right group. It's gotta be the right group, or it's just not gonna happen. I think if you're happy, man, if you're happy with what you're doing and who you're around and they're keeping the good vibes, you're going to be happy on the field or what you're doing in your sport, And like I said, like we've been talking, there's moments where it's going to be down. But if you got the right group, you've got a good foundation, man, you're gonna be good.
And what about young athletes? What do they need to hear about the mental side of the game that maybe you wish you hear earlier? And I know that, with all the NIL stuff, like now that pressure is getting put on people at a younger age. And how would you help them get through stuff like that?
Man, I don't know, man. NIL stuff, man, they getting some crazy money. If I was getting that out of high school, I might have been like, you know what, I don't think I need to go to the NFL.
Yeah.
I think I need to put that stress on me. But for those kids, the young cats, man, it's just ask questions if you have them. Find, and I look at, how Cub's been such a mentor to Puka. You gotta find them. You gotta find a mentor. People need mentors, especially in sports.
They
man.
do.
Obviously, we all can play the game. We're all talented, but it's like if you don't have someone that you can kind of mold and build, like, hey, I can do this a little bit better. Look at the way he's doing. Look how his career is gone. I can put that into my daily routine. You got to have a mentor for sure. I think that's one thing that's helped a lot of people, a lot of guys that these athletes now, they're getting the money out of high school, but they're going to get to that level where it's like, all right, I'm going to be the top dog in the NFL at one point. And finding the mentor is huge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that, man. Kai, this has been such a powerful conversation. Thank you for sharing your journey, your struggles, the lessons you've learned along the way. These are all conversations that, that have to break the stigma to change the culture around mental health in sports.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this was a great podcast. It's my first one. We were able to get chopping. Hopefully,
Hopefully they don't think it's my first one either.
Hopefully we get invited back on. But, man, I appreciate you, Sean, and this was awesome.
Thank you. To all our listeners, remember that success isn't just about what you achieve. It's about how you show up for yourself every day. Thanks for tuning into the Project Wellbeing Podcast, where we refine wellness and performance.